Welcome to A Canadian Investing in the U.S., a podcast and YouTube channel focused on Canadians buying real estate with host Glenn Sutherland.
Welcome to a new episode of A Canadian Investing in the U.S. with Glenn Sutherland. This week, my repeat guest is Brandon Cobb. If you like this episode, go back and check out episode 202 and episode 316 where I had Brandon on here. And Brandon, let's start off by telling people a little bit about you. They haven't heard from you in a couple of years.
Yeah, I know, right? It's a good time always coming on. Enjoy coming on the show. But me. So I'm probably what you call an accidental entrepreneur. I never had these hopes, dreams, aspirations to run my own company. And if you told me 9 years ago that we would be inventing these new housing communities, I'd have looked at you like you had 9 heads. Wouldn't have believed a word that you said. It's amazing everything that's happened and what can happen in, just shy of a decade. So I was in medical device sales, and unlike a lot of people, I loved my job. I don't have this story where I was sick of a corporate career and I worked for decades. I was fed up and I had this last straw moment. No, I was in my dream job. That's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, was medical device sales. I was very happy with the products that I was selling. I believed in the product, right? There was a lot of intrinsic motivation and satisfaction knowing that your product is changing a patient's life for the better. I got to be in surgery every day, rubbing shoulders with successful orthopedic surgeons and training the hospital staff on my product. So, felt very special. And I got to wear scrubs every single day. That was like the coolest thing in the world. There's something about wearing scrubs that makes you feel really cool, really special. And so like a lot of guys who are very young in their early 20s, all I wanted to do was make my parents proud, right? You've been out of school for a couple of years, and my parents said, Brandon, you need to get a job with a corporation, good benefits package, and save your money and don't spend it. That's what I did. That was the path that I was on. And so I saved my money, didn't spend it, got the fancy schmancy corporate job and all the benefits, and kind of the rest I thought was history. Until one sunny Friday afternoon, I was having the best day possible as a sales rep. And I was going to meet with my boss a little bit later. And my boss was a guy who was like a father figure to me. I mean, this guy was my mentor. It took me years to break into medical device sales. And he was the guy that finally gave me a shot. And when I went to meet with him, before I could get it out of my mouth how phenomenal of a day I'd had and brag on myself and tell him, hey, here's how much money I made you today, he fires me.
Oh.
And the shock that I experienced that day was on another level. I mean, it was hours of just shock. And all I could think about, Glenn, that day was, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Because that job was like my blood, sweat, and tears. I'd poured everything into it. And, I had the Rookie of the Year Sales Award. I was working really hard. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? That just rang true. And, for whatever reason, my boss was like, you're sorry, you're not a good fit for us. And I hope you learned something from it. Well, what I learned from it was that nobody was going to look out for my financial well-being but me. You can be as loyal as you want to a company, climb the ladder, and eventually something's going to happen and you're probably going to get let go, right? That's just the reality of how businesses are. Most businesses eventually go out of business, or there's a restructuring or something happens and you're going to get affected. So that lesson, nobody's going to look out for my financial well-being, is what started my whole entrepreneur journey. So, at first I made all the mistakes. I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I started a course on how to break into medical device sales. That failed. I said, I'm really into this motivational stuff. I'll start a motivational blog. That failed. I said, I really like life advice and life coaching. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I'll be a life coach. And Glenn, you're not going to believe this, but not many people want to take life advice from a 27-year-old. So that failed. And then I discovered this vehicle called real estate. And man, when I discovered this, I saw the path to making money. And I immediately stopped all the other businesses, went all in on real estate. I started flipping houses, started building houses, needed to scale the number of houses that we were building. So started going after large swaths of land that, could get approved for a lot of homes. And, before we could go vertical and start building all these houses, we started getting knocks on the door from all of these big national home builders. Knock, knock, knock. And we're like, who's there? And they said, hey, we really want to buy your land. And we said, it's not for sale. Sorry. And they go, well, what if we offered you this for it? And we looked at the offer. My partner looked at me. I looked at my partner. We looked back at the offer and we said, "It's for sale. You can have it. And do you want the one
For a
across the
price.
street too? Because we will sell you that one too." And so that's kind of how we got into the land development and land entitlement game. And since then, we've realized that these publicly traded companies, Lennar, D.R. Horton, Ryan Homes, Pulte, they're publicly traded. That means that the stock price has to go up. And there's only one way to make the stock price go up, and that is to acquire land and build houses. They don't have a plan B. Plan A, acquire more land, build more houses. Plan B, acquire more land, build more houses. And plan C is acquire land and build more houses. They don't have a backup plan. And so we found ourselves on the side of the table that Wall Street could cut an unlimited amount of money to us and pay us for getting this land, approved and ready for development or develop for them and create these ready to build communities. And so you could say the rest is history.
So just thinking about this, if someone was going to start off the way that you did it, probably isn't probably the right way to do it because you bought some land and then they approached you, right? So that's probably not the right thing to do is go buy some land and hope some developers
Yeah.
approach you. Are you looking to invest in the US? Are you looking for a coaching program that will actually save you money and help you avoid mistakes? My students get discounts on lawyers, attorneys. If you're looking to get an E2 visa, if you're looking for certain software, if you're looking to even speak with CPAs, I have discounts for all these things. If you want to just get on a quick phone call and we can discuss if it's a fit for you, 10-minute phone call, go to glennsutherland.com or at CanadianInvestingInTheUSA.com and book a call.
Yeah. So, one of the things we teach, and now we're on a mission to help other people figure this industry out without going through all the heartache and the losses. Because, we made a lot of mistakes. And the whole reason we created the Land Development Accelerator community is because we could not find a community out there like it. We saw, like, I've been a part of masterminds for years and coaching programs. Like, we're doing a new thing. That's the first thing I do is I go join a community and I find a coach to make sure I do not make the mistakes. And these mistakes can be very big in this industry. One of the things that we teach people to do, again, ask me how I know this, is we simplify the process. So we've got a way of showing which areas and which parcels to go to. If people want this, we have a free training. You can go to learnlanddevelopment.com. It's a free training on everything that I'm about to tell you right here. But we show people how to go and identify the parcels of land, put it under contract, and you have a due diligence period, usually 90 to 120 days. Well, during that due diligence period, you get a concept plan done. That is just a rough sketch on a one sheet of paper on like what the community might look like, right? It's an aerial view. It shows the number of, where the roads go, the homes, all that. You just get a concept plan done.
So
Take
you
it
don't
to
need
the
an
city.
architect to do this? Is this something that you're just doing on your computer or do you have someone else do this for you?
You can hire a civil engineer to do it because they're the ones that are going to be able to see what the best possible use of the land is, the units and stuff like that, right? So civil engineers, is who you'd contact. And then you take that concept plan to the city and you'd say, hey, would you guys support this? Is this something that you guys want? And of course, every municipality has a vision for their community, and the developers are who bring it to life. So the city and developers work hand in hand to help create the community and the vision for that particular municipality. And if they say, yes, we want this, we're excited about this, we want more homes because more homes mean more businesses, and we like that, then you've got buy-in from the city. So then you take it to your list of buyers. This is National Home Builders. That's who we work with. And we say, hey, do you guys want this? And they'll go, yes, because you've followed the right strategy and you've picked out the areas that they're already building in. Like, they're going to be interested in this. And they say, yes, I want this, Brandon. I'm excited about this. You do all that during your due diligence period. You get the contract from the builder, and then you start taking it through the approval process. So that's how we simplify it. And that's how we de-risk a lot of what can happen in this business.
That makes sense because then the city they've already at least given you kind of maybe not approval, but like a verbal that this is what they're going to be looking for, and this actually will go through. Because I don't know this industry, but I assume that you have to do some rezoning and some other things to this land, or I'm guessing you're not searching for land that's already zoned and already shovel ready.
Not necessarily shovel ready, but it could already be zoned for it. So we've bought land all the time that has the zoning, but the key here is rule number one is never buy the land until you have all your approvals in place. Because just because you go to the city and get a couple of verbals from them doesn't mean that you might not run into some issues during that approval process. Like I've made this mistake. Don't make the same mistake I have. I've got some pretty heavy losses on deals I did because I did not wait for the approval process until getting my buyer and the approval process lined up for. So put under contract with an option to purchase contingent on getting the result that you need. And what I love about this business is I'm not contacting people who own land and lowballing them
Okay.
because we add so much value to the land when we force appreciate it. So when we take it from raw land farm to approved 50, 100, 200 home community, it's worth a lot more money. So we can afford to pay the sellers a lot more money. So we're not spraying and praying. Like we have a sniper approach on the parcels we're going after and who we're talking to. And we have a very high conversion rate because we're paying them a lot more than what the land is currently worth. But they have to wait until we get that approval.
Just whenever I hear that, whenever I hear that you're paying like, what they're asking or even higher than that, it also makes me like go down the path of partnering with them, seller financing, working with them or closing it at the last minute. Is that ever something that you set up to work with the actual sellers to be on your side?
Yeah, it takes a high level of trust. We've got a deal right now we're working on with a 88 home community. The seller wanted to maximize his offer, and we said, "Great, if you will do a joint venture agreement, you contribute the land as equity to the deal. We will bring the buyer, we will manage the development, we will we'll turn the land into ready to sell lots." So, there's a couple strategies. You can just get the land approved and sell the paper, do absolutely no construction whatsoever. Or you can actually do the development, which is grading the land, putting the roads, the sewer, the water in, and then selling the ready to build lots to builders.
That makes sense. Where's the risk in this? Like, 'cause it sounds like you're getting a lot of this stuff lined up before closing. Where is the risk? When does something not go to plan? Are you looking to buy property in the United States, but not interested to travel there just to sign the notary? Did you know there are 6 different ways to sign notary as a Canadian, and only 2 of them involve going to the United States? To get my free guide on notary, go to accanadianinvestingintheusa.com/notary.
Yeah, so there like everything, there's risks in it. So one of the risks when you're doing the land entitlement piece, right, up front to get it to what we call like a preliminary plat approval, you might have to spend some money. Like you're going to need to spend money on a concept plan. You might need to spend money on a traffic study, right? So that costs a little bit of money, and you don't have a guarantee that they're going to approve it. But if you do what we teach in the community, which is before you present a deal, go meet with the planning director, meet with the council person, whoever the liaison is for developer, and just put you on the same side of the table and say, "Hey, my name's Brandon. I'm a new developer in town. It's really nice to meet you. I wanted to." We're going to be looking at doing some deals in your area. Wanted to get a feel for some things other developers have done to create a win-win for you and them. What are what are the citizens complaining about? And here's a key question. What is blowing your phone up the most? What are people calling you and complaining about most, Mr. Director or Mr. Council person or whoever? That is really key. And they might say, like we're sick of townhouses. Like we really need more, single family, or we need more green space, right? Or we're tired of these really crappy builder grade homes. We want something a little bit nicer. If you bring them something that aligns with those needs that you identified first, your chances of approval go up significantly. So that's a key step, but you are going to have to spend a little bit of money. It's not a whole lot, but there is some capital investment to try to get it to that preliminary plat approval. Now, once you got the preliminary plat approval, there's a lot less risk. Now you need the money to do the civil drawings, and you go, raise that money from investors or whatever. But you've got an in contract in place with a builder. So we don't ever want to do any of these deals unless we've got an in contract in place with the builder, or we feel very, very confident in value. And so what is the risk then? Your buyer backing out. So your buyer could back out and you lock them in. And here's what we do. We collect deposits from our end buyer that are non-refundable that cover our entitlement costs. So whatever money we're spending on that deal while it's under contract, the buyer's deposit, if they were to walk, covers our cost. And so that is a risk. Your buyer could always walk away. But the opposite is you have to put it on the market and sell it, and now you've got market risk. So there's always going to be some kind of risk, but that's how we mitigate that. And it's the same for doing the development. We pre-contract with a builder by once the lots are developed. And we like working with national home builders because they don't have financing problems. And again, motivation. They have to buy land. They don't have a choice. They have to make the stock price go up. So there's a lot of motivation for them to perform, and we're getting very significant deposits. Like these are 7-figure deposits that we're getting when we do the land development portion that they would lose if they do not perform on the deal, if they walk from the deal. So those are a couple of the risks that you have right there. You could always run into something during the entitlement process that might be a deal breaker for you. We found out on one of our deals, like we got the preliminary plat approval, but when we're going to meet with like the state, we found out that the state wanted us to put a turning lane that would extend 1,100 feet down the road. And we're like, well, that's $900,000. We're not doing that. So the deal died, right? So you're going to run into things. That's why you don't ever buy it until you have all your approvals. Because if you run into something like that, you can just walk away without having spent a ton of money on it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And just thinking about this, you know what? Talking about risks, backtrack a little bit, but talking about risks, if you're going to go buy a multifamily business or a building, you're going to have to do all the surveys. You're going to have to do home inspections. I think no matter what you're doing, there's going to be risks. So I think, like you said, just as about managing the risk and controlling the risk as best you can. But there's going to be always situations where you spend some money and you have to walk away because it doesn't pencil for what you're trying to do. For people who are like, hey, perfectly green, they want to go, hey, I want to learn how to do land development. What kind of time would they be expected to do for the coaching part, and how much time would they be expected to do for the actual deal analysis and finding these properties? What would you expect as a weekly or a monthly timeline?
Yeah. So our program is a little bit different. We don't take first time people. This is not a, hey, do your first real estate deal with us. No, you have to have a certain level of experience and you have to be a full-time entrepreneur. So no W-2 people and no first-time real estate investor. The development is a experienced investor game. So if this is your first real estate deal, this is not a good fit for you. You need to be an entrepreneur. A lot of the students in our business are either builders that want to scale their company. Like they're tired of chasing onesie twosie little builds, and they want to be able to have conversations with landowners where they can acquire land and have a runway to build houses for like 3-4 years. So that's one type. There's a lot of land flippers in our community. They have, I don't even know how many, they have a lot of years of experience flipping land, doing rural subdivides, stuff like that. And they've sold some land to a developer and saw how much the developer resold it for. And we're like, holy crap, like why I should do that. Like what happened here? And so they're just ready to do bigger land deals. So that's like the two types of avatar. And the third is usually somebody who's just got a passion for development, right? They're flipping houses and they want to get into new construction or something like that. So we teach all three phases: the entitlement portion, phase 1, development portion, phase 2, and the actual new construction, which is phase 3. And so yeah, you got to be a full-time business owner.
But you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense because and also it'll help your success rate of your coaching program if you got people who are that's where the big risk is, the green people who never actually do anything. So no, that's great. For people who are like, hey, well, where do I learn about this coaching program? Where do I go? Where would you suggest they go to?
Yeah, there's two people that we serve. So the first is somebody that wants to learn how to do what we do. So they want to learn land development and or entitlements. So we've got a free course, Land Development 101. go to learnlanddevelopment.com. You can grab that free course. If you want to learn more about the community and the mastermind program, there's a video on that same website. Just watch the video, and there's a button to book a discovery call with us if you want. The second type of person that we serve is the investor who doesn't want to learn how to do this, but likes the idea of investing in new affordable housing communities in Nashville, Tennessee, and just wants hands-off passive income. So if that's you, if you like the idea of just being able to invest your money with a company that is out there doing all the work to find these deals, manage, and sell them, you can go to hbgcapital.net/waitlist. There's a video that explains our whole strategy. And again, you can book a call if you want to.
Awesome. Brandon, thank you for coming on the show. Lots of value. Appreciate it so much.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
That was a nice video. Bye.